human history, man has gazed up at the stars in awe and with wonder. Our ancient ancestors charted their movements, identified constellations, and marked time by creating celestial-based calendars. The stars also became the source of countless myths and legends. Many of these describe visitors coming down to Earth from somewhere out there. Others speak of entire civilizations existing out in the cosmos.
The ancient Sanskrit writings of India tell us, for example, there are 400,000 human-like species scattered throughout the cosmos in different planets, different solar systems, even different dimensions.
But where are these alien beings? Did they come to Earth in the past, as the ancient astronaut theory suggests, and then leave? If so, will they ever come back? Today, scientists around the world have stopped waiting around and are taking steps to find intelligent extraterrestrial life. Will technology finally be able to prove what our ancient ancestors believed thousands of years ago? In 1960, astronomer and physicist Frank Drake set up an unusual telescope in the hills of West Virginia. The strange device was made from surplus World War II radar equipment. But rather than containing a traditional optical lens, it housed a directional radio antenna.
A few simple calculations showed that radio telescopes have the power to transmit and receive across literally interstellar distances. We're talking many light years. So Frank Drake turned the radio telescope on a couple of nearby stars and tuned in to see if he could pick up a message from the aliens. So this was a sort of crazy thing to do.
Drake failed to pick up any sound that day, but the science of radio astronomy was born. If we couldn't see aliens in space, maybe we could hear them.
The things we focused on in the past for searching for extraterrestrial life is really passively trying to discover signals on the basis that if they were technologically advanced, they would have some form of electricity like we do, and all electricity generates radiation. And send out the signals and hopefully we detect it.
In 1961, Frank Drake and a group of astronomers, physicists, and biologists formed a privately funded organization called SETI, the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence.
Which is still
Their
around.
goal was to focus massive radio telescopes towards space and listen. Drake estimated the probability that intelligent life existed out in the universe in a formula that became known as the Drake equation.
The Drake equation is like a bridge between scientists and non-scientists because it explains what you would want to know to give a number about how common alien life could be.
There are multiple factors within the Drake equation, like the fraction of stars that could have planets, and the fraction of those planets that could be habitable, and the fraction of those that might have liquid water, and how many could have evolved intelligent life. And another important factor is the lifetime of those civilizations, and that is a big unknown. We only know of one, that's ourselves. And how long are we going to be around? That's to be determined.
Using his equation, Drake estimated that over 100 million advanced civilizations could exist in just the Milky Way galaxy.
SETI presupposes that if you've got an alien civilization capable of traveling, that's developed electronics, they have a fingerprint. That fingerprint is a repetitive signal. A repetitive signal will tell them that it's not just noise, junk frequencies out there, but a real attempt at communicating, maybe not with us, but with each other.
On August 15, 1977, astronomer Dr. Jerry Eman was working on a SETI project at Ohio State University when he recorded an intermittent signal coming from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius. The signal lasted 72 seconds before being lost. Eman believed that it was of extraterrestrial origin. But despite repeated searches and increasingly larger telescopes, the signal has never again been detected. But what if SETI intercepts a transmission from another world? What would happen next? According to SETI's post-detection protocols, once an extraterrestrial radio signal is confirmed, news of the event should be kept secret until the authorities have been notified. The government will then decide whether or not to try and make contact.
I think all bets are off, because here this message could contain enormously important information that would transform our society and maybe destabilize it. What is it going to mean for the future of our civilization? These are momentous questions.
Today, SETI continues to scan the vicinities of nearby stars for artificially produced signals using several of the world's largest telescopes. In the next several years, when it becomes fully operational, SETI's new Allen telescope array will allow for the reconnaissance of up to 1 million stars.
SETI has to search a huge, huge area. They'll tell you that now they have searched the equivalent of like a glass of water compared to the entire ocean on Earth. They have a long way to go.
While SETI listens passively to signals from outer space, NASA has attempted to contact alien life directly through messages sent aboard its space probes.
It's a long shot, but there's no reason, in my mind, not to expect that life evolved elsewhere. What's harder to predict or try and understand is how likely is it that it happened close enough that there'd be someone we could actually communicate with.
In 1972, NASA agreed to attach small plaques onto the outside of its twin Pioneer space probes, the first human-built objects destined to leave our solar system. NASA contacted Cornell University professor Dr. Carl Sagan to craft the message.
Carl Sagan was one of the most active astronomers in the search for life outside our planet. He was a very prominent scientist, he was an excellent astronomer, and he really did a lot to help us understand how we might contact other life or detect life elsewhere in the universe.
Sagan, along with SETI founder Frank Drake, designed a gold anodized aluminum plaque measuring roughly 6 by 9 inches that contained a collection of symbolic images representing humans and Earth.
The man and the woman were nude, and the gentleman was holding one arm up like this in what was intended to be a sign of greeting.
A schematic design of the solar system was also shown, with the planned trajectory of the Pioneer spacecraft marked on it, and a diagram of 14 pulsar stars around the sun made a chart that might help someone work out where the craft originated.
We tried to give them an idea of where we're located, and that's an interesting problem, is to figure out how you would tell someone where you're located in space, because you don't know where they're going to find it. And it was all in a very stylistic design, with an intent to hopefully communicate at least some of these ideas.
5 years later, in 1977, Dr. Sagan got a second chance at designing an interstellar message when NASA agreed to attach another one to the Voyager space probes. This time, Sagan created a record album made of gold-plated copper, along with a series of basic instructions in how to make it work. Sagan estimated that the metallic disc could survive in space for at least 1 billion years.
One of the challenges with technology is trying to figure out one that can do what you want. So here you want to encode audio and even some video images, but do it in a way that almost any other technologically advanced society could figure out. And the advantage of a record player is it's both mechanical and electrical. The grooves are obvious. And so they actually put on the cover instructions on how to play it.